Sukuna is terrifying before he throws a punch. A strong villain attacks, wins, and moves on. Sukuna can wait inside Yuji Itadori, watching a body that is not his, while everyone around him tries to keep a catastrophe contained. The anime confirms the basic prison. Yuji swallows the cursed finger and becomes Sukuna's vessel. Sukuna does not need constant control to dominate the situation. He needs one moment when Yuji, Megumi, or everyone else has no good option left. That is the hook. The question is not only how hard Sukuna can hit, it is why he is so willing to let the world create leverage for him first. The binding vow with Yuji makes that patience concrete. Yuji dies. Sukuna offers revival until you watch who writes the terms. Sukuna names the trigger, sets the conditions, and makes a wager Yuji cannot remember after he returns. The canon fact is the pact. The interpretation is what the pact reveals. Sukuna understands that rules are most useful when another person is desperate enough to accept them. He does not need to shatter every boundary. He can stand inside a boundary that he designed to favor himself. That is not honesty. It is precision without conscience. And it kills one lazy fan reading immediately. Sukuna is not helping Yuji because he cares. A coercive rescue is still coercion when the rescuer chooses the price. The vow turns time itself into Sukuna's weapon. He can wait because the agreement is waiting for him. That begins in detention. After its defeat, Megumi faces Sukuna. The guide establishes encounter, not motive. Later technique revelations make Sukuna's interest clearer. What does he want from him? Here is the disciplined answer. At this ceiling, the anime does not tell us. It confirms interest. It does not confirm the motive. That distinction matters because fan theory loves to turn one look into a complete master plan. The sharper reading is not that Sukuna becomes protective. It is that he appraises people selectively. Some lives are disposable to him. Some potential makes him pause. That makes the attention more unsettling, not less. Affection would create a moral limit. Appraisal creates a condition. Megumi is not safe because Sukuna notices him. He is trapped inside a question Sukuna refuses to explain. Shibuya gives us the obvious evidence of Sukuna's strength, but it also shows his battle intelligence. Jogo forces Yuji to consume more fingers, Sukuna takes control, and the official timeline records Jogo's defeat. Then, Megumi begins the ritual that brings Mahoraga into the disaster, and Sukuna defeats the Shikigami. But the more useful question is what he does with superiority. The anime lets us watch a fighter who tests, observes, and adapts instead of rushing to empty the whole arsenal on the first frame. That is interpretation, not a canon diagnosis, but it is supported by the structure of these encounters. Jogo is treated as a standard of resolve. Mahoraga becomes a problem to be solved under pressure. Sukuna's technique use matters because it is judgment in motion. He identifies the condition, measures the danger, and chooses an answer. Combat is not just pleasure for him. It is an examination in which he alone thinks he has the right to grade everyone else. That cost is the center of Sukuna, not an ugly footnote. The official episode summary says he destroys Shibuya, kills many people, defeats Megumi's Shikigami, and leaves Yuji to wake up to the aftermath. The Shibuya timeline also records that civilians are caught in the domain expansion. People who had no place in Sukuna's contest become part of its price. This is where the video must refuse the easy montage. Destruction can look impressive and still be monstrous. The anime does not frame the aftermath as a clean victory lap for Yuji. It forces him to see what happened through the body he shares. My interpretation is simple and bounded. Sukuna has no moral break that activates because ordinary people are at risk. Their survival is not a value that limits his choices. The city is not collateral to him. It is proof that collateral is a word for people whose lives he never counted. Now the counter-argument. Of course, Sukuna's strength is essential. Without it, the vow would not carry force, Jogo would not face that judgment, and Mahoraga would not become a crisis he could answer. Calling him dangerous while pretending the power is incidental would be fake sophistication. But raw strength is still the easy answer because it describes capacity, not character. It tells us who can win. It does not tell us why Sukuna waits, why he bargains only when another person is broken open, why Megumi becomes an exception, or why civilian harm does not stop the calculation. Those are choices. The thesis is not that Sukuna is weak without power. It is that power alone cannot explain the kind of threat he chooses to become. That is the strongest spoiler-safe explanation of Ryomen Sukuna. Not a secret hero, not simply the strongest man in the room, and not a solved mystery with a manga answer smuggled into an anime video. He is, in this anime-bounded reading, a patient catastrophe. He waits until desperation makes an offer possible. He understands rules well enough to turn them into leverage. He notices potential without granting it dignity. He treats combat as an examination, and he treats other people's survival as irrelevant when it obstructs his interest. Those are interpretations, but they are interpretations tied to what the anime actually shows. The counter-argument stays true. His strength makes every choice catastrophic, but the choices are why the catastrophe feels personal. Vault verdict: the patient catastrophe. A predator who does not need to chase the world because he trusts the world to create the moment he wants. Who should enter the character vault next?